All right, thank you, everyone, for joining us for another conversation of leveraging logistics for Ukraine. So we will just start how we often start, is just a quick rundown of who is on today's call, um, and maybe something that's going on with them, or ways they're looking to help, or things that they've heard, or questions that they have. So Lee, you want to get us started today?
Sure. My name is Lee Schuman. I'm a retired evangelical free church pastor, and then started a nonprofit called Hand in Hand Logistics. Been involved in Ukraine since 1997, variety of different things, but most recently doing really two parallel things. One is delivering humanitarian aid, and I'm also the president of an organization called the Minnesota Coalition for Eastern Europe, in which we do a lot of funding for various Christian ministries, children's camps, pastoral training, those types of ministries. So what we've been doing for the last 2 years, we've sent, I think, a total of 25 containers, 24, 25 shipments. And that has been consisting of clothing, food, medical supply is really the bulk of it. I would say 70% of what we send is medical supply. We received this from a local organization, Matter 360. We go through it and we sort it and we categorize it and label the boxes, and then send it to about a dozen different places in Ukraine. And then the fourth thing that we work on is sending fire protection equipment. And so there's a high need for that. Most recently, I've been working with a couple of Minneapolis area active and retired fire chiefs. And in 10 days, I'll be traveling to Ukraine, to Cherkasy. We'll be spending at least 2 days there meeting with the uh, regional officials and doing a little bit of training, but basically trying to set up a map for long term of sending fire equipment. There's a lot of it, which is available. In the United States, all fire departments are required by federal mandate to get new equipment every 10 years. And so I get stuff that it's 10 years old, but especially in rural departments, Minnesota, hardly used. So it's good condition. We can get the full things which are there. I'm working with a couple of departments about possibilities of trucks and ambulances.
Mm.
So that is kind of on the kind of the forefront of things which are there.
That's awesome. I did not know that about fire departments, so that's really
Uh, we,
interesting.
we've sent probably 800 sets in the last year and a half.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing when you go over? Are you just kind of inspecting and checking on people, or what is your mission there?
Yeah, this one is very specific. We're going to be meeting with firefighting officials, trying to set up. My goal is to set up two logistical hubs.
Okay.
One in Kasi, that they can distribute the things that we send, and they can also develop an inventory of the equipment so that as things wear out, it can be replaced. This is all, it's used, but it's very serviceable. It's in good condition. And then I want to set up a second hub, hopefully in the western city of Uman, in the Cherkasy Oblast. And what that'll do is to allow for distribution on the western part. So we have one location in the east, one in the west, and the one in the east can obviously serve. They're kind of at the put this way, Cherkasy Oblast is in the physical center of Ukraine, and it's kind of a logistical hub for a lot of organizations.
Okay.
And so this would allow a good distribution to a lot of different places that that's in that area. So that's the goal of this trip, and then also with the two, there's one active and one retired fire chief. We're very interested in bringing other groups of trainers in several years to come. They will train on the usage of American gear, American fire technique, provide basically also just the encouragement of peer involvement. But so then parallel with that, I'll be working with local Christian leaders to do chaplaincy training. Chaplaincy work in the military is very well developed, but you have the first responder community, which they themselves under a huge amount of stress. For example, uh, right now, fire departments are on rotation. They have to go to the war front to do demining, which I think would be a rather stressful engagement. But also now, if I understand correctly, that Ukraine is mobilizing up to half of the fire crews and half of the police force to become active in the military. And so that's going to open up an abundance of issues, emotional, spiritual issues for not only those who are being activated and deployed, but also for their families and trying to provide some mental health and spiritual care for those populations.
Yeah. Have we connected you to, I'm forgetting her name now. I think it might be Natasha, with Ukraine Aid that sends ambulances. Have you talked to her before?
No, that would be very helpful if I could, because that's always its own unique challenge for us both logistically, since we're mid-continent. We have to get these vehicles to the East Coast, for shipment, and then also we have to figure out, the $5,000 to $8,000 per vehicle for funding.
Okay. Okay, let me make a note to connect you with her. And they actually, so they're in, I want to say Chicago. So also Midwest like you, and they have been shipping ambulances filled with matters, medical supplies,
Oh, wow.
continually over there for the last couple of years.
Well, we could easily add matter stuff to it. That's not a
Yeah.
problem.
So I'll connect you with her. All right, so I made a note for myself on that.
Well, that'd be great.
And then I don't know if you knew, I'm not sure if you were on the last call. Oksana was on the last call, so her nonprofit has also shifted. So primarily they're an environmental organization planting trees, but they have also shifted to working in demining as well, because she's like, I can't plant trees if there's mines around. And so I don't know if that would also be a helpful conversation with you.
It may be. I mean, at least this is kind of a new field. I wasn't aware of, what the firefighters were doing till about 3 weeks ago. So this is kind of a new
Yeah.
area for me too. So
Okay. All right.
that'd be very helpful.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, sounds good. Evelyn, I'm so glad to see your face. It's been a while, so we're glad to have you back. And I know before we started recording, you gave a little bit of overview about who you are and what you do, but I'd appreciate it if you'd go through that again. Evelyn, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I thought I heard Glenn as a name.
Oh, no.
I'm here for many reasons. I am of Ukrainian heritage. My both sides had to leave because of the program in the early 19th century, 20th century. But I'm also here representing Jim Jennings with Conscience International. So that is somebody Lee might enjoy having a conversation with. They have been in Ukraine, have had several teams over the past 2 years, and there might be a source And also, I have a friend whose husband is retiring from the chaplaincy of the military. He's been all over Europe. And I'm going to suggest that perhaps he would like to have a conversation with you. And my interest is to help anybody any way I can with being a second set of eyes and telling your story or obtaining a grant or connecting you with in ways that I can. And it's amazing, just like a conversation here, how that happens. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Ross, you are new to us. You gave us a little bit of your story before you hopped on, but now that we're recording, if you can tell us a little bit again about who you are and who you're with and what you're doing and where you're located.
Sure, thanks. So as I'm completely new to the humanitarian business, to say so. My background, I'm a mathematician. I was working in University of Madrid, and actually the work caught me during my family visit to Ukraine. And it happened that I was the only Spaniard. I obtained the Spanish citizenship when I was 6. So I was the only Spaniard who was during the heavy siege of Kharkiv. So all the media contacted me, and basically it was me going on national TV with the list of needs of the closest hospital to my house, my family home. And that is how all started. We managed to get 140 tons of medication that we distributed to more than 60,000 people here in Kharkiv region. Also, we delivered to hospitals. And then in April 2022, the oncology hospital was bombarded here in Kharkiv region, and there was a call for help. And that's how our focus project appeared. So since then, our main objective is attract medication, mainly chemotherapy medication. And we reserve the whole treatment for patient in Kharkiv in the beginning. Now we operate nationwide in Ukraine, but we are in constant contact with 62 oncologists across Ukraine to making sure we do know the real demand, and if basically the treatment for the patient changes, so we adjust it. We were announced in autumn of 2022 a donation of $14 million US of chemotherapy medication, and it was a huge volume. So we needed to store it in a proper place. So we built our own cold chain facility that we call bunker. Well, we sort of believe that it's bomb-proof because it's 4 meters below the ground. It's completely independent from the outside energy resources. So everything is controlled there, and all the patient they feel relieved when they know that their medication is stored and is completely independent from blackouts. Like for example, right now we have a blackout in Kharkiv, at least in my zone in the city. Since then, we worked with Doctors Without Borders, Doctors of the World. We work with AmeriCares, Direct Relief, and our oncology project started to transform into something more complex. So right now we offer mental health support for oncology patients. We do basically group therapy. We also offer training for oncologists, where we engage with Spanish oncologists. And a series of projects inside of what we call Ukraine Cancer Relief Program. And I was invited to this Zoom by Oksana, who I met in Sweden, in Stockholm, during a conference. And basically what I'm seeking is ways to obtain more medication from our list of needs that we know from our own statistic. The problem with the government procurement is that it is based on outdated statistic, which is actually not real. Yeah, and also I'm looking forward to make it more sustainable, since we develop quite unique standard operating procedures for humanitarian work. So I kind of want to make it more sustainable, and instead of having just funding for 6 months, to start having a complete operational team which is sustainable nationwide in Ukraine.
Fantastic. I have so many questions since you're new to us. So
Sure, yeah.
I do, and then probably others do as well. First of all, would you mind putting your organization? Oh, you just did answer one of my questions. So your organization's URL is now in chat. So missionkharkiv.org. Thank you for that. So are all of your medicines coming from outside Ukraine, or are you also able to get some from inside the country?
The vast majority is from the outside. So we receive gift in kind donation from Amgen and Direct Relief, and also we had a €500,000 donation from MSF.
Okay.
I don't know, it's because MSF, that's how we call it in Europe, but I think you know it by Doctors Without Borders. So I don't know if that works.
Yes. Yes, Doctors Without Borders. And then are the medications, is it both for children and adults, or do you specialize in one or the other?
It's mostly adults. The chemotherapy, immunotherapy medication that we get are more suitable for adult therapy.
And then, so obviously Kharkiv has been in the news a lot lately. There's another outbreak of fighting there. How are you? How are things there? What are the actual conditions like?
Well, actually, yeah, they opened two more front lines in the north region of Kharkiv. The situation inside the city, it's quite stressful because the frequency of bombings, of shelling augmented as well. We did not stop our operations anyway in Kharkiv. We already for 2 years on a daily basis, we deliver to the nearest oncology hospital for all our patients. Like, we centralize our distribution point. Unfortunately, some of our employees needed to evacuate because they had children, and I completely agree that Kharkiv right now, it's not the place for children, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Who else has questions? Evelyn, Lee, any questions for Ross?
No, I am just listening and digesting and praying, and would like to know some of the conversations about becoming sustainable. What is the biggest challenge there?
So the biggest challenge is basically to have a small initially operational fund with which I could create an initial fundraising team, which will then fundraise and apply for grants that can last for a year or two, allowing us to sustain these operations. Because right now, mostly all the fundraising that we do is on my behalf. We are 15 employees in the organization. We have like 15 employees and 15 volunteers as well. So from my point of view, the first step for sustainability was becoming with solid standard operating procedures that are critical for us, but also unique for the humanitarian world. So we did that. We know our operations. And the second one is to have a dedicated team to fundraising, establish a solid team, and then just expand. So but it's quite difficult to obtain a grant dedicated just for salaries, you know. So I would say the main struggle is there.
I'm going to add the budget-wise, what you forecast for at least 1 year with to cover the 15
sorry?
deployments.
What
What
is
is
the amount you're seeking for the first year?
Oh yeah, it's one year. It's $200,000. That's the operational budget to minimally sustain the whole operation of Ukraine cancer relief.
Question.
Thank you.
Lee, any questions from you?
I just also did on chat to Ross that just asking, since we're sending medical supplies, if he has need of those. These are, we secure these from Matter. These are the one-time use types of things. Full range of hospital supplies. What we do is we sort and label and then try to be specific to the needs which are there. So if we could perhaps follow up, Ross, I would like to do that.
Yeah, thanks. A part of oncology, another project that we do, that we started May last year, is to provide critical infrastructure workers with specialized stop bleeding kits, because it's all over the news that Russia attacks the energy sources and power plants across Ukraine, but actually the workers there, they don't have specialized kits. They still have these Soviet industrial kits, right? So compared to oncology, that project for us is quite simple. It consists in providing metallic boxes that we designed that are able to withstand a minor pressure wave. It always can open, and there we place 4 tourniquets, K7. There is bandages and everything to control bleeding. Apart from that, we also provide training for the employees. So right now, I'm happy to say that we covered all the needs of all the critical infrastructure in the Kharkiv region. And right now, just this week, we entered a power plant in Kiev, and we finished with the largest power plant in the west of the country, in Burштyn. So it will be great to have the insides of the metallic box, right? We have the bandages, the tourniquets. That will be of huge help. I can drop you a list, a list of what includes the first aid kit itself.
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what about equipment for the hospitals that you work with? Are they looking for like beds or wheelchairs or anything like that? Is that anything you help with as well?
We kind of moved from helping hospitals, because I have seen many actors across Ukraine already doing it.
Okay.
And they do a great job. So we try to focus on specific needs. And we see ourselves more like a patient-oriented organization. In terms of patient needs, there is a huge gap with assistive and inclusive devices across what you said. Basically, those are wheelchairs, right? Mm-hmm. Across Kharkiv regions and overall in Ukraine, because there are governmental programs, but again, they're based on outdated statistics, and it's not to blame, because it's very hard during wartime to gather necessary statistics. We had a 2-phase project with Doctors of the World, where we provided assistive and inclusive devices, but also by our established policy, we do it patient-wise. So we deliver it directly to patient.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Terrific work, especially with such a small team. I'm still thinking about this bunker thing, which is really amazing as well. So congratulations for all you've done. All right.
Thank you.
I was going to say the same thing, because I hear your passion, Ross, in your delivery as well, and it must make a difference at the end of every day. Thank you.
That was different from when I was a mathematician. Like with this work, you see the impact just the next day, and working in mathematics perhaps in your
Yeah.
lifetime you will never see the the actual impact of your work.
Yeah. Nuria, you want to chime in? Our fellow Spaniard?
Yeah, sorry I missed that part. My connection has been dropping and it's been on and off. So I'm so sorry
Okay.
that I missed that. So I've been just listening to the last part and it's incredible what you do. And by the way, Spaniard from where? Where about in Spain?
Well, I was born in Kharkiv, Ukraine. I obtained Spanish citizenship when I was 6, and I lived in Valencia, Madrid, and 2 years in Galicia.
Oh, nice. Where about in Galicia?
In Corcubión.
Oh, right. So you speak Spanish?
Sí, por supuesto.
Okay. Okay, because I am from Madrid and well, my husband is from Galicia. And well, that is great. Well, it's amazing what you do, honestly. Yeah. Thank you for telling your story and all those amazing things. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me share. Thank you.
So Nuria has lived all over, but is currently in Bristol, UK, and she is part of our marketing team at Vector as well. So she joins us when she can. Let's see. All right, and we have someone with the initials VV. I'm not sure who that is, or if you want to chime in and say anything. You don't have to. Okay. All right, so we've talked about Ross has the need for funding for medications, perhaps some medical supplies like tourniquets and bandages for his kits. Lee is also looking for funding, and I will connect you also with, I want to say, Natasha, at Ukraine Aid, who is shipping ambulances, and then Oksana for the demining things. Lee, any other asks at this time? Anything that's going now or later, or that you want to chime in about?
No, just again, for us, we're a totally volunteer organization. We don't have any paid employees. Our costs are involved in really not so much procurement. Most of it comes for free because most of it is otherwise disposed of, and we salvage it. But our costs are for shipping, which typically for us is about $10,000 to $11,000 per container. And so we've been shipping pretty much one a month, but it's always a challenge.
On that note, we have been getting reports, no surprise to any of you, with the war in Ukraine, with what's happening in the Middle East, with the Panama Canal, with attacks on ships, that container prices will be rising again coming up. So just be aware of that in your planning and everything as well. And there have also, of course, delays sometimes come about because of these things too, going into these areas or getting containers from one place to another. So just to be aware of that. Evelyn, do you know what's happening at Conscience? I haven't heard from them in a little while. Do you know what's going on over there?
I haven't spoken to Jim because he had the personal health issue that they're taking care of, but I believe the last I heard that he was cutting back on a presence in Ukraine to answer other global issues.
Okay.
But I will update you when I know that better.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Yes.
And he's been a humanitarian, oh golly, going on 40 years, and it's just amazing. The conversations and the impact so quietly.
Yeah, he's done a lot of amazing work.
And he's also a poet, and how he is finally letting the world hear his voice from all the opportunities that he's had, experiences.
Wow. Very cool. And as Evelyn mentioned, she is a expert in oh, thank you, Ross. I see your chat with your paper there. Thank you. So if anyone needs someone to look over their grants, provide feedback before you get started, or once you're underway and wants another set of eyes to look on that, then Evelyn is always there to help with that. All right, and Louisa just joined from our team as well. All right, so we got 3 out of 4 of the vector marketing team here today. That's a good showing. All right, so if there is nothing else, I won't keep us any longer than we need to. Evelyn's email address is in chat now, and we will still, of course, be making connections behind the scenes. We have the WhatsApp group for you to list, what's going on, what's happening, what do you need, what are you hearing? So that is always available in between meetings as well. And yeah, I will send a recap and all of this information. So I've noticed that even when we have a small group, the good discussions are always even great. So thank you for being here. And we will talk again soon. But if you need anything in the meantime, always reach out by email or by WhatsApp, and we are there. But thank you, everyone, for all you're doing, and keep up the good fight. Have a good day.
Thank you, Christine. Safe travels, Lee, and everyone.
Thank you.